If you've watched the other two videos, part 1 and 2, we have already surfaced our material. We've already done lock miter joints, and it's gone all over how to prep these pieces and set up the bits so that they will join at a perfect 45-degree angle for a solid hold. I'm going to cover a miter joint once again real quick. A miter joint has to be reinforced, and a lock miter is going to do that. You don't have to use what's called like a keyed miter or do any, splines, biscuit joining, dowel reinforcement, anything like that. There's so many ways to reinforce a miter joint. A miter joint's very old school. That's why they came out with the lock bit router, actually, is so that you could just entirely wrap your project and have it clamp up solid. So I already have my lamination for the floor because we're going to glue that in today. I'm going to show you how to take this piece of exotic zebra with Spanish cedar on the other side and actually make the bottom grooves to glue in that floor, because we're going to glue in the floor while we glue up the actual box. So as you can see, I did a lamination on this. There is glue overflow. That's what you're looking for. On building a humidor, we want to use a waterproof, a FDA food safe glue, something with maximum hold. I recommend a Titebond 3 for that. And you can't over glue it. Spanish cedar loves to soak in that glue. So I use a spreading tool, get it all nice and coated, let it sit for about 5 minutes so those pores, and then I put extra wherever it's already soaked in. That way my floor actually has that complete barrier. And then I will show you later how I also reinforce that so that it is truly a box inside of a box, so that you don't have to maintain that humidor. And with this process, it doesn't have to be a humidor. It can be an heirloom box. It can be whatever you want it to be. I built some just to hold my router bits. I'm going to go over safety real quick. As you can see, my saw blade is down. I actually have a med kit. It has everything you need in there, from Celix to ace bandages, tape. Tape is your friend all the time. And no, this did not happen from woodworking. But I would always keep one handy. I keep one on my cart over here. I've wheeled over everything that we need to do this process right here. We do not need the floor lamination right now. Okay? What we are actually going to do is just trim down one side, get an accurate measurement of what we're dealing with, so that we can make our grooves appropriate to this floor size so it fits in there perfectly. So, a lot of people wear safety glasses. I only do when I'm going to be blowing some serious dust. I run dust collection. A lot of people wear a respirator. I highly recommend that if you have severe asthma. I typically don't wear a respirator unless I'm working with truly toxic woods. And yes, some woods are toxic to sand, and they will harm your health. Spanish cedar is actually one of them. It can cause respiratory inflammation and cause all sorts of problems. The blast gate is open for my tools. Some people will use push blocks for what I do, or push sticks. We're working with the wide enough material that we do not need any of those things. So let's fire up some dust collection real quick. And as you can hear, it's already sucking a little bit of dust. We're going to raise that saw blade. I'm going to actually move this fence so that you can see. We just want to raise this guy right over that top. All right, we'll go a little smidge of a higher on that. Now, this side was actually designed to be my straightest edge. So I am actually going to use that to trim down this access side. And that is actually going to be about 1/4 of an inch. So it's actually not too bad. The overall size of the board is 12 inches. We're going to take it into 11 1/4 on your fence. My fence is true. I highly recommend. There are many ways you can test if your fence is true or not. Fire it up. You have a nice clean edge on there. That's all we're looking for. So now I can actually set my blade height to this exact thickness because it's going to be very important. I think that's about right. Remember, we spoke about sacrificial pieces in the last one. We're going to use this guy as a sacrificial piece. We're going to see if it's actually going to do what I want it to do. There's many ways you can make these grooves. We can insert a dado blade. This piece isn't square. This one's square. So really is what we're looking for here is that piece, which I have the off-ball, all right, is going to be the exact depth of our material. And as you can see, we're actually a slight bit over there. And we don't want that. So we're going to bring her down a little bit. And then we're just going to bring that blade in, because since it's too big, we'll see. Now we can see that there are actually 2 ridges on there. And now we can double check and see if our thickness is appropriate. And we are actually perfect. As you can see, these are flush. So now we have our bit set at the right height. Okay. Now is what we're going to do is we're actually going to see how far in we need to go to get it to set all the way flush with the bottom, which we're just going to take little increments off, and we will know exactly the measurement that we need to take out. Now, if you've noticed, I keep moving my fence in. We're going to continue to do that. Your blade is approximately 1/8 of an inch. So you're going to go in 1/8 of an inch. I normally do about a little over 1/16 so I can keep it flowing. So now I know how high I need to raise that blade. Keep a square handy. I actually keep one at the table saw too, just in case I'm not wearing the belt. It's just easier for me. Which we are right about, let's see, 1/4 inch by, come on a minute, by 1/4 inch. So we're pretty much right on there. And we will fine tune that as we go through with the zebra piece. We're not going to overcomplicate this. Just going to take our zebra boards. All right. Set this off to the side, set it in a scrap bucket. I can reuse that. Just trim it off, reuse it again. I can do it for several projects and we're not wasting boards. Alright, so we have the blade set right. Okay. Now I chose this to be my bottom because there is tear out. Alright, when I was doing the lock miter, I had some tear out because I rushed the process at the last second, which it happens to the best of us. Even if you have an experienced woodworker tell you that it doesn't happen, I don't want to hear it. It happens to them. They just won't put it on video. We learn from mistakes. It's very important to know. So I am actually going to take just a small chunk out of here. And I mean a very small chunk. You can't even see the line. You didn't notice sometimes I'm tearing these out. The glue is just, I mean, the lamination is solid. It really is. And a lot of people would try to chisel it out. What you can do, this is actually my contractor's chisel. I don't use my fine chisels for something like this, because then you end up dulling blades that when you need them, you actually need them. So and there's nothing worse than grabbing a set of $400 set of chisels and then they're not working. So I made a mistake. I wasn't focused. My wife came home. We're expecting twins. We already have 2 kids, 14, about to be 15. We've got a 10-year-old boy. So our hands are pretty full. She was trying to get a baby crib because now we need 2, because we only thought we were having 1. And when I had looked up, I just got misconcentrated on my piece. It's very important. And I've been doing this for a very long time, and I made that mistake. When you're doing work on a table, especially as a beginner, do focus, please, on that work. So now we can actually take, and we can see that our floor is going to sit perfectly. Oh no, it's not. We got more to go. How did I think that we were done with that? Well, let's see here. Check something. Let's see on the ends. So we actually need to go. We've got it inset enough. I actually need to raise that bit up just a little bit, which I'm gonna go ahead and do that off the video, and then when we come back, we'll trim this floor and we will clamp it all up right here, and I will show you how you can clamp on this. I don't need to use this at all today. Show you how to clamp it right up right here and not even worry about the glue cleanup. So now we have our pieces cut. So they go right in there. Works out perfect. Gotta get to this piece. Gonna take a fence off. Alright. And I am actually going to lower the blade. Set this over here. I'm going to use strap clamps to glue it up. We're not ready though. Alright, so the main gist of this whole thing is that they fit right in there. Now remember, I am going to show you how to glue this up right here. I don't have to use my table saw at all again today. So really, in all reality, there we go. Just pop it in. Sometimes these joints can be pretty dang tight. Alright, now the reason why I'm going to strap clamp this now is because we want this floor to be accurate. So I'm just going to put a strap clamp around. If you've never used a strap clamp, super easy to use. Look at the instructions, and I'll do videos where I use these all the time. I use a lot of strap clamps for what I do. Alright, I've got hold there. Hold there. Now, it's important that we keep hold up top too, because we don't, if you just put pressure on the bottom, the top is actually going to pull outwards a little bit. And you can actually over tighten a strap clamp. And if you've noticed, I've done them on the opposite of each other. That way I have the best force that I can put on there You don't want to put all your clamps on one side, putting the pressure that way. It's just not the way we're going to do it. So, as you can see, we're pretty clean in here. Nothing to write home about. But we are going to clean it out just a little bit. Won't take but a second. See, I'm just pulling little chunks out of there. Pulling little chunks. Pulling little chunks. Pulling little chunks. Chunks. Just remember, and I will tell you this, the most underlooked thing in your shop is the true potential of taking a chisel to the finger. If you do woodworking and have ever used a chisel and you have not taken a chisel to the hand or your arm, you didn't do something right. You just didn't. Now, if you've noticed, I've used the same tape measure for this whole project. It's very important. Do not change your tape through a project because every tape's going to be off. Whether it's that 32nd of an inch, it's going to matter. All right. So we're actually going to hold in. We are at 11 and just under a half. I cannot add material back. I always keep a little note card on me. Always got a pencil. I'm going to double check, measure twice, cut 1.25, which is exactly what it should be. I'm going to measure, we're at 17, just a little over 17 and a half. A little over 17 and a half, so we're going to go 17 and a half, 16. 17, alright, which would technically be 7/16. Alright, now we're just going to set this right back on our cart. The cart comes in handy. I've been able to wheel over everything I need right here. Alright, so keep that handy. I'm actually going to set my tape on it. That way it doesn't blow away. We've got some good winds today. A storm's supposed to come in, and I'm excited about that. I love storms. Now, remember, got my jig. Love this thing. I custom made a 4-foot long one. If you want to know how, I'll show you. PM me. Super simple, dirt cheap. So, remember that flip stop will allow me to trim this edge to make sure that it is square. Alright, which I need to use this face side because first we're going to square it up. Once again, raise up that blade. Baby. Alright, we're going to kick on and never have the board right then and there on your project. When you fire it up, it's just going to kick on. We're just taking slitters. I'm going to flip it around. My measurement was 17 9/16. I think I said 7/16 earlier, but that's not right. And I have my good side to the face. You can easily set this 17 and a half. That's 16. And remember, we can't add it back. Put that up there. Usable off-ball. Now we just take it over to zebra. Need to trim it just a smidgen. solid fit. Take you down. I normally set my fence right here, but I moved my stand for it. I've got too much stuff over here where it belongs. 11 1/4. A little bit over. Fits. Knock her out of there. Notice I lowered the saw blade. Don't need my dust collection anymore. I love my dust right dust collection system. It's always treating me nicely. Now, one good thing is that I already have these strap clamps ready to go. All right, we can just move the fence out of the way. We have everything we need. Now, I am going to clamp this together, but first I have to break it down. The reason why, well, actually I might not have to. Okay, that is very consecutive. That grain lines up real nice, so at least I know that I have a solid front to reference to. Alright, so we just take it apart. I'm going to keep these three with me. Know how they orientate. Set this guy on top. Now the way we're going to do this without actually getting glue on our table saw is going to be to use wax paper. And you can reuse the wax paper. I have some on my main bench. Got too much glue up going on over there. And we'll wax paper this puppy up. I'm actually going to go ahead and just put another safety layer on there. And the cool thing is, with the size of this build, I'll keep it all on my steel plate and not on the aluminum that's made to just be there as a support. It's not as sturdy as that cast iron. I know I said stainless steel. I don't know why that came out. I don't know. I think I'm hungry. I was thinking of my fridge. Alright, so back, this side, this side, this side. Alright, I use Type Bond 3. Shake it up a little bit. It's waterproof interior, exterior. It's got good hold time, and it has, it clamps up, it glues up pretty quick. So I'm actually going to put some in here. Let that just spread down. And I'm angling this so that I'm on the wall, and then the leftover will slide down, which you can see right here. I'm actually going to try to put that glue on that wall. And the leftover is just going to kind of slide down. As you can see, and it's better if look over here. We'll be able to take care of that glue. Gonna do that over here. All right, now just want to put a little bit of glue in this slack miter. A little bit of glue. A little bit of glue there. A little bit of glue there. We're just gonna have fun with some glue. Yeah, you're gonna have some glue slide out of there. That's okay. Some glue there. And really, I don't have to put that much glue, but with the way that I'm building this, and it is a humidor, I need those barriers in place. I want to make sure that I get maximum hold, and I want to make sure that when you get it, it is just so low maintenance. That's the reason why I started doing these, was because I really do not like high maintenance humidors. I've bought some of the best there are. I love them as decorations, seeing as though I have a bad habit of collecting things. As you can see, I'm not using a glue brush. That's what my fingers are for, to be honest with you. If I'm doing a lamination, I'm actually going to use a spreader. I'll use a cloth for a lot of cleanup. That is typically what a lot of people operate. And if you let your glue sit for about 15-30 minutes, it's going to gum up. You can just take a chisel and just slide it right on out without having to deal with all of the dumb things that go along. So we have these. Cooperate with you now. If you wonder why I wear gloves, a lot of woodworkers would say, don't wear gloves. I hate splinters. I just do. And that's just one way of, I do a lot of rough lumber. Oh, you're gonna go upside down. Milling. And I work with exotics. Like this zebra puts a splinter in you, it is gonna hurt. Oak, the same way. Those hardwoods are way different than. Now, I've already got squeeze out inside, which is okay. I'm just gonna take a chisel, wipe it out, wipe it out, wipe it out. No big deal. Done on my pants. Alright, so now we're gonna go ahead.
The thing I didn't mention with the table saw is you always want to cut your good face up. So, if you're on a table saw, that means face down. If you're on a miter saw, that means that you would do it face up for your good side. It's for splintering reasons. I use masking tape to avoid splintering. On this floor, I was not worried about those splinters because I'll put a little wood filler in there and call it a day. So we're going to put this floor in here, while it's a little loose, and then I can go ahead and rotate it around. And of course, I'm already stuck to that. It's okay. It's still on my paper, and it will not go on to. Sometimes I take this down. I didn't want to do that for the video. Now, the thing about it is, your glue is going to spread in there naturally as you apply pressure. And you really just, you don't want to over-tighten it too fast. A lot of people think that, you know, you just got to manhandle it and all that, but you really don't. That's what's so nice about, you know, I've got all my joints. This joint is not squaring up, which I do not know why, but if I had to guess, I'm not square. I've got 21.5 from corner to corner. I'm a little under 21 and a half. Now the way that I'm going to fix this is I'm actually going to take a jet clamp, put it right there, and I'm going to square up both of these sides as best that I can without putting a buttload of force on them. These things will put an equal 1,000 pounds of pressure. They have coarse threading, which makes them super quick to adjust in. The levers are easy to work with. I like them better than good old Bessie. However, that's just me. And then let's see what we can do. Be right back. I don't have that clamp. Take one of these guys real quick. I found sometimes just clamping these up like this will give me enough room to really just nudge that the way that I want it. If not, I'm going to flip it over and clamp that a little bit. But first, before we flip it over, actually, we're going to create a mess if I do it that way when it comes to clamps. So I'm actually just going to remove this for a second. It'll stick to the project a little bit, but I'm actually going to move to the bottom side to figure out what's really going on here. It's overlapped, so we're good. Don't need that anymore. Get one of my handy dandy glue rags. Clean up some of this shit coming out of there. You can always fine tune this with your chisel. It doesn't matter. Everyone has their own way of doing it. This corner, you're good. Too far. You are the one that's causing me problems. And so I do believe that one of the reasons it's causing a problem is because it doesn't have good pressure down here where it needs to have it. And as you can see, this strap clamp is kind of where it's not supposed to be. Work that thing all the way down. Kind of even. Doesn't have to be all the way down perfect. There we go. It lined right up. And again, we're just off a smidge, which I will be honest, it happens. Not everything is going to be perfect. If it's handmade and not by a laser, there's going to be a slight margin of error. I'm more worried about the interior integrity, but I think as I square this floor up, this is why I brought all these clamps over. And I'm actually going to lift it up, and I'm going to put pressure on the floor. I'm going to alternate the way I can get it nice and stood up. I don't want that floor to slide back out. And we're going to get that floor nice and tight. Remember, you can't over-tighten a clamp. That's the way it goes. Equal force. And notice how these jet clamps they really do the job. They are expensive, but I will tell you, they are worth every penny when I have the extra money to use them, or start to acquire them. They apply the best pressure, and without the violent force that sometimes people feel they need. Because as you can see, my paper is moving with me. These clamps are so just heavy. They're manageable. They might be heavy, but they're manageable. And that's why I prefer them over any other. They are parallel clamps. They work with money spin. Believe it or not, I think this calculates to so far 1, 2, 3. We're at over $350 for clamps on this thing. But you get what you pay for at the end result. I've used Heirloom. They improved their clamp. They used to have it to where it was fine thread. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And now they have made it to where they're a little more coarse. DeWalt's trying to come out with some clamps. They're honestly Heirloom. I compared the two. Those are contractors and not cabinet makers in my humble opinion. I will say they're great for laminations because they'll put some pressure on there. But they are my last resort clamps. Same with Bora. I actually would like to try out a couple different Boras, but I'm afraid to spend the money.
So as we take a look at this, we have some glue squeezing out there. Most of our joints are really good. Got a little bit of glue there. We'll chisel that out. The floor is set appropriately. This right here is that outside corner that was giving me a little bit of problems. It must have been, I mean, it's off by not even a 1/16 of an inch max. But I'll make it look good. It's what we do. I used my tool cart. It had everything that I needed, from the wax paper to my ouch pouch. Had some clamps, bringing all the materials that I needed over to the table. Glue rag. If you're wondering how I just magically turn on my dust collector, Dust Right actually comes with the remote, which is why I like the Rockler Dust Right system. I was talking about push sticks and things like that earlier. Here's what a push stick is. It's designed so that you can push the material through. I typically don't do that. I upgraded the top of my fence for just some feed rollers. You put one at the back, one at the front at the blade, and the way it works is it squeezes that material to it when I'm ripping it down. That's why I have been able to get by with the Hitachi C10FL. I don't think they've sold these in years. I've had this thing for 12 years. I only thought it would last, I don't know, 2. And I've put it through hell. And I've only had to replace one belt and fix a few set screws. I will say these plates, the zero clearance that I've been using, are a lifesaver. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the glue up of our lid, because that's going to be very important to get it right, and gluing it onto the top. And then we will actually cut the lid off the box. Yes, that's right. We're going to build the entire box, then we're going to cut the lid off of it. That way it is actually the exact same as the box below. And I appreciate everyone for viewing. Like it if you can. Ask questions. You can reach out to me directly. My Facebook page, Clarkwood Products LLC. You can hit me on my personal profile. It does not matter. Just send me a request. Sharing is caring. It really is. And we all started somewhere. I started with some very basic clamps, and then I grew. So everyone have a great day, and don't forget, safety is important.